Good day, everyone. This is Coach Reese coming at you with another great video. I'm hoping all is well with you and your family and that you're enjoying your day. Today, this video is geared towards the parents or guardians of children. And I feel that this video is very important because I really feel that I need to explain the reason why I started this channel for young people. And like I say, I feel that it's very important that parents have a clear understanding of where I come from. And, I just want to be a source of help or like a coach to your children. I want to be like a coach or a mentor to your children. By no means am I trying to replace you all as parents. I feel that it's just my humble opinion, young people. I'm talking to parents now. I'm sorry, parents. It's just my humble opinion, parents. I was raised in an old school environment, and one of the things I learned from one of my elders is they always used to tell me it takes a village to raise a child, and I feel that that is very important. So, like I say, I just want to be like a mentor. I want to be like a mentor type person in regards to dealing with your children. Like I say, I'm not trying to take the place of you all as parents. Because you all are, that these are your children, and you are have a right to raise your child, the best way that you see fit. And I would by no means would I be disrespectful or get involved with, trying to be like a parent or, extended parent or guardian to your children. You know, um, I prefer to be called Coach Reese, and that's the lane that I'm gonna stay in. As far as being like a coach, like a mentor. Like for example, if your children are playing sports or something like that, their coach would be someone like a mentor. Someone that they can look up to. Something like that. Parents, I think you guys have a clear understanding where I come from. Today, I have a couple of points that I wanted to say in this video. This video right here is a part two of I Am Here to Help. The title of my video is I Am Here to Help. And this is part two of that series. And like I say, this video is for the parents. And I just pray, parents, that you all bear with me as I go through the process of doing this video. I have a couple of points, like I just said, that that I have notes on that I want to talk about in this video, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started with that. My first point is this: I want to teach children the importance of listening and obeying elders that are in authority over them. I want to teach children the importance of listening and obeying elders that are in authority over them. And I feel that that's very important, because like I say, parents, I just want to be a mentor to your young people. I just want to encourage them to make wise decisions. I want to encourage them to think about the decisions that they make in life and always try their best to make the right decisions. So I feel that respecting elders is very important, parents, because when I was a young boy, my family stressed the importance of respecting elders. Like you know, when I would be talking to my mom, it would be disrespectful for me to call my mom by her first name. My mom stressed the importance of calling her mom, period. What I mean, or mother, what I mean. So, like in my family, it was very disrespectful, to call your parents by their first name, And as far as elders in my family, I've always been very respectful of my mother's parents, because I was partly raised by her parents, and when I would talk to my grandparents, you know, again, it's totally disrespectful in my family to address elders by their first name, So I would always call grandma, grandma, and I would call my grandfather Papa. That's what he preferred to be called by his grandchildren. He wanted all his grandchildren to call him Papa. So, again, I was just raised to be very respectful of elders, you know. And one of the things I wanted the parents to understand that I, stress to young people sometime, I always tell them this: you have to respect elders even if you disagree, right? And I know, in this society, you have this AI technology or Google or whatever. And if, an elder has misstates something or says something wrong, young people can always go to their phone or whatever electronic device to find out the correct answer. But, I always stress to young people, never to argue or be disrespectful to elders, even if you're right. I always tell young people, even if you're right about a certain point, just let the elder have their way because they've earned that privilege of being an authority over you. So, you know, um, like I say, at the end of the day, I just want the young people to respect you, parents, and other authorities that other elders that you place in authority over your young people. Okay. The next point I wanted to make is this: never be afraid to ask why in regards to knowledge. I always stress to young people, never be afraid to ask why in regards to knowledge. And the word knowledge is very important in that statement, parents, because I never, like I stated earlier, I never want the children to be disrespectful to you as parents or other elders that you place an authority over them, be it, their aunties or uncles or teachers or whatever. I always tell young people to be respectful of all people in authority. But when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to education, when it comes to learning something like new, like as far as how to build a bridge or whatever, or they have a question about a math problem or whatever it is that the young people need to learn about. I feel that it's always encourage young people to ask why. Why is a rocket able to lift off the ground and go into outer space? Why is that? And I feel that young people should be able to ask questions like that, because why? When young people ask questions like that in regards to knowledge, that's how they gain wisdom and grow. You know what I mean? And they'll grow up. I just want them to learn the right things, and learn the right correct information. And the only way that they can do that in regards to education is they need to ask questions that they're unsure about when it comes to education. Plain and simple. You know, um, I think someone told me this when I was a young person. They said no question is a dumb question. You know what I mean? You know, the foolish thing to do is to sit there and be all confused and have a misunderstanding and you don't ask the question. Does that make any sense? So like I say, when it comes to education, I always want, young people to do their research and study very hard and find out the true answers to their questions when it comes to their education and gaining that type of wisdom. Okay, parents. The last point I wanted to say is this. I always stress in my videos, well, some of my videos, I always stress the benefits of loving more. The benefits of loving more. Unfortunately, parents, as you're aware, I live in the United States, and right now, the United States is going through this era of a lot of hate and just a lot of hate going on around the, United States right now. And it's just unfortunate. But with young people, I look at young people as precious little people that can be molded into making good, wise decisions. So, like, if I was a parent in this time and in this time of day of when it's all this hatred going around, I would encourage my child to love, to love everybody. You know what I mean? Because when you give love to people, at some point, you're going to get love in return. So the way you treat people, it's just my humble opinion. The way you treat people is the way you're going to be treated, you know. And I'm not saying everybody's going to be perfect and show, young people love if they give love. Of course, you have some foolish people in the world that are going to be mean and ornery regardless. And, they have to live with that, but I just want to stress parents to the young people the importance of loving more, because if a child chooses love over hate, at the end of the day, it's just my humble opinion, parents, they are going to win at the priceless game of life, and I feel that that's very important that they choose love over hate. Okay, parents, I'm approaching the end of my video. And in all my videos, parents, I touch on the 3 points on wisdom. I touch on a point on critical thinking. And then I have an ending statement of practice. And I'm going to go ahead and get started, parents, on my 3 points on wisdom. Point number 1, I always stress to the young people, wise people are good listeners. Wise people are good listeners. Point number 2, wise people have the thirst or desire to learn good knowledge and spiritual knowledge. Parents, I feel that point number 2 is extremely important. Wise people have the thirst or desire to learn good knowledge and spiritual knowledge. Point number 3, wise people have the courage to teach their wisdom. Wise people have the courage to teach their wisdom. And parents, I always encourage the children to do their research on wisdom. And I always tell them that I pray that you all, young people, will pursue wisdom with the utmost seriousness, because it's just my humble opinion, parents, the sooner that children pursue wisdom, the better off they'll be, and it'll benefit them in the long run. I have a statement dealing with critical thinking, and it goes like this, parents. Always be a critical thinker, especially when making big decisions. Always be a critical thinker, especially when making big decisions. And so parents always encourage the young people to talk to you as parents about the topic of critical thinking. And I also encourage the young people to do their research on critical thinking. And I also encourage children to consider being critical thinkers, because the sooner they become a critical thinker, it's just my humble opinion, the sooner they become a critical thinker, the better off they'll be, parents. That's just my humble opinion. And I feel that being a critical thinker will benefit them in the long run. I have an ending statement of practice, and it goes like this. I love you. I love you. I want the best for you. I want you to practice using love and wisdom in all that you do. Life is a game that you must learn how to play. Practicing love and wisdom with your family, friends, and loved ones creates a powerful team. Love conquers all, young people, even if you feel defeated. So young people, I encourage you to keep loving and keep growing and gaining in wisdom, and God will bless you in a mighty way. Parents, I encourage you all to hit the thumbs up on this video. I encourage you all, parents, to share this video with family, friends, and loved ones. And I encourage you all to subscribe to my channel. At the end of the day, parents, I want y'all, your young people, to accomplish all that goals and dreams in life. And I want the young people to be the best person that they possibly can be every single day of their life. Parents, I feel that that's very important. The young people give their best, do their best, and give their best every single day. That's very important. I have one more nugget of wisdom before I officially conclude this video, and it goes like this, parents. Don't ever think that you're better than anyone else, but rather think of yourself as just as good as anyone else. Humility is a vital key to successful life. I pray that the young people will apply that to their life, because humility is very important to have in your life if you want to be successful. I always pray that the young people will take on humility, take on that humble behavior, you know what I mean? Because if they're humble, they're able to be disciplined, to be patient, to listen, and to learn something. You know what I mean? Humble people have a tendency to be very successful. That's just my humble opinion. I'm going to go ahead and end this video by saying this, parents. May God bless you, and may God keep you until we meet again.